The client doesn't meet you, your engineers, your panels, or anybody. I am your company. I'm your employee. I'm your sales rep. I'm your company. They will forever have problems in life. Doesn't matter if he works for you. He can come work for me or for him or the other company. He would forever hate his job. Your job, you need to understand that your job is to lead them. It's not only to help or support. That's fine. That's perfect. Please do it. But it's to lead them. People are much more productive when you know how to lead them. Much more, much more. A lot of sales guys don't know how to do a follow-up. They go and they say, "Hey, did you check the quotes?" It's like, "Hey, are you ready to give me money?" It's a really bad way. If you cannot explain it to your colleague, the problem with this deal, how can you explain it to the client? Hi guys, so what you're going to be looking at today is a video call from a consultation that I've done with an owner of a solar company. The company is about 150 people. They work in 5 countries. They've been on the market for 14 years, and their sales team is out of 12 people, together with a sales manager. And of course, the owner is also engaging with them. Now, I've already done some sales trainings with the team. Additionally, I've done some one-on-ones. There's more to come. But we've identified, obviously, the issues, and the main challenges are toxicity in the team, lack of results, obviously, lack of discipline. They're not open enough to change. They're not open enough to believing in themselves and that any new method or process can increase the results. So basically, they have all of these mental limitations that should not be there. Additionally, the team is a little bit older than usual by age, which is typical for sowers. So you also have that there, based on their experience. The consultation that I'm doing with the owner is me explaining how he should be doing team meetings himself, together with the sales manager towards the team. Why? For instance, why am I not focusing on this instead of the sales training, which is for skills in communication? Mainly because we want to retain and grow the respect between the team and the management. Because if I do this and if I start moving through the whole communication, which also motivates them, there's a pretty good chance with a team such as this that the management would lose respect, and then it would be difficult in the future for them to sustain and maintain the results and keep working with the team. So in order to avoid that, I'm explaining and teaching, not just in this meeting, but obviously in others, how the management should do specific team meetings, specific one-on-ones themselves, to make sure that the team is performing, and they start removing those limits. They start understanding how much more they can do, because I'm also working with other companies, and I can immediately tell them if they have the maximum amount of results as they think. So I hope you enjoyed the content. Make sure you make some notes. It's a pretty long one, because I just wanted to show one typical consultation. This is, I think, a pretty useful one on a really simple and, I think, connectable topic to a lot of people, a lot of owners and managers. So I think this would be useful to you. Any other topics that I've had in other consultations, I'm going to think if I need to pause them, because those are really more detailed, more in-depth, and they're more so connected to the client. It's not as general as you would see in this one recording. So thank you so much for watching. See you next time. I'll tell you this, I have so many people that are working 100% remotely. They have amazing results if you know how to talk with them. They actually bring in their friends to my company to work for us. Additionally, so they bring good talents if you know how to work with them. Of course, it depends on the industry. I know it depends on a lot of stuff, but the first thing that you should never have on your mind is that it's a problem or that it's not going to work.
Oh, I believe it can work, but we need to talk how to do it that it will be successful. To be honest, I have enough stress without it, so probably my anxiety would go just up with everything else.
Man, by the way, you gotta work on your stress or whatever you have, because these are the one main things that any CEO, anybody should work on. If you're not bringing me in the correct vibe from yourself, the guys just don't respect it. If I feel that you're overflooded with work, you're super busy, or there's something wrong, Anything that you tell me, to me, it's like a fix to your problems. So I go to fix your problems as an employee, you know, and that's not a good feeling for an employee. The employees need to feel and know that you're the man. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to be like like this is super important. You need to be like, I don't care if a meteor falls on your house. Like to them, in their eyes, you need to be top notch always. Even if you haven't been, it's easily fixable. I'm not even that's like top one priority that helps them follow every single thing that you do. This is a structure for your weekly meetings with the team. I have pulled out three options for you to choose from because I understand you're busy. The first one is optimal, where you have meetings every single day on different topics. It definitely would be a bit strange and a little bit difficult for everybody in your team to follow it in the beginning, but it works and it builds a really strong teamwork. The second option, and that's why it's called optimal. The second option is semi so, because let's say you want to take it a bit easier, or maybe some days are busy. And the third one is no time. I've called it because I guess you don't have time. Okay. But that's the minimum. And it's not one meeting.
The second one would be easier for now. So
You can check them later as well. But basically, from the second one, what you're losing is some Q&A sessions and some discussions that you would usually do about referrals, about partners. You can try and integrate those into the other meetings, but usually when you have a meeting, the whole idea behind any team meeting is for you to stick to maybe one or two topics. Go above two topics, I'm sure you have seen already they have forgotten the other parts. It's like one or two topics, I'm not joking, about business. You know, you can talk 30 minutes about life if you want, joke around, but about business, one or two things. That's it. And you stop. You have to stop. So don't go explaining to me distribution, products, installations, 10 clients, partners, tenders, houses, schools in one meeting. I already stopped caring. Like, I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. You know, one, two, three. This is Monday, Tuesday, right? It's logical for the week. Yeah. Now, usually here you should have only goals for the week, but because the first one, let's say you cannot take it, you should also have a Q&A on the results from last week. Okay, actually it's the other way around. First you do the Q&A, because if you go here, you see it's only the goals usually, and then on Friday you set up some Q&A. Thursday, actually, sorry. Now here it's gonna be goals for this week and results on last week, which I assume you do. But it's not about it's not about just going through the numbers and saying this is good or that's bad. It's just about asking questions. Okay, why did that happen? Where did it go wrong? What did he say? Super important. Why do you think the client said it? Why do you think this is the accumulation? Why do you think this is the result? Well, I don't know. Where is the price? Well, okay, if it's the price, what could we have done? So it's literally, I want to start the car in their head. And we don't stop doing this uh, until they learn that they have to give me accurate answers and numbers. This meeting doesn't end until they start giving me accurate numbers, explanation, until they start expressing their opinion. I want them to come in, give me their opinion, give me their fixes, because a lot of teams, especially in SOAR, they learn that when you ask them about the results, they say, well, that's a problem, this is a problem, this doesn't work, they're just talking about problems. You're the CEO, you know the problems. You're not going to hear something new. I want to hear potential solutions. I actually want to hear motivation for potential solutions. Maybe they're not going to give me the best ones, but I want to see that they are thinking in that direction. If your guy is not thinking in this meeting with you and with your team about these solutions, I promise you that when the client catches him on the desk and says this is too expensive, he's gonna shit his pants, because he doesn't think like that. Okay, you need to understand. You really need to understand how crucially important it is for your guys to have this mindset, because sales, you're paying these guys sales and commission for them to close the client. You can bring in any average performing person in life, and he can pitch, he can give price, he can quote, and he can talk with the client. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people that are going to go in and handle the objections and look for solutions for the client as well, not just for us. Otherwise, the client is never going to build any trust with us as a company. And okay, maybe you're making 300,000 or whatever, but you could have made 3 million. That's the whole idea. Like, there's companies that are making insane amounts of money. We start off the week by challenging them in a nice way, with asking about the fixes on last week, on the results there, why it went like this. Everything that you say needs to be simple. Like, basically, if I'm telling him, okay, well, explain this to me, explain that, and he says, well, I don't know, he like backs off, always make it small. No, oh, look, I'm just asking about your opinion. We're just talking. I'm not looking for something. This is not going to change anything. I want to hear what you think. Okay? Because if you cannot express it right now, I'm sure you cannot express it anywhere. So I want you, to relax. Tell me what you think. So you need to tone it down constantly, because they would feel like you're testing them. Tone it down, and you would see in the beginning, maybe you would get 30 minutes of discussion, some fixes, some solutions, first 1 or 2 meetings. The longer you do it, the more they would realize, it's basically you're training them. They realize, okay, this guy is not going to let me go before I give him something that's actually valuable, like useful. I have to think before this meeting, what's a useful solution? Why didn't this happen? Once they start thinking like this for the meeting, they would start thinking like that for the clients. Because next time they go into the meeting, when they get the client with such a problem, even before the meeting, he's going to be like, okay, I can fix this now, so that in the meeting I can actually bring a result, not a problem. This is important, and nobody does it because it's a no-brainer. You would immediately usually think that this is how it works in his brain, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Especially if they go constantly 1 year, 2 years to the site, give quotes, give price, they get up with competitors all the time. The client is bullshitting them. He's slowing down. He's not paying. They stop thinking like that. They just perceive that this is the business. They think, oh, okay, well, this guy burnt me, fuck him, right? This is not how we work with clients.
I have maybe here just one problem. I think that I always have few teams in the system. Some one is sales team, one is a technical team, one is for montages, and one is for support. And always is in the circle. Always someone is blaming someone else if something goes wrong. So this is, I have a problem, because no one takes responsibility for the problems when they come.
This is a really good point that you're making. By the way, you remember I told you the lack of accountability in the teams? That's what you're explaining. Basically, we don't take that. In our teams, guys, girls, anybody knows, as you have seen even from the team meeting, they take responsibility on what I can do. Okay, Luca is building my quotes. He's installing. He's slow. I cannot kill Luca. I cannot beat him or put a gun to his head, right? What can I do? So it's from understanding. I will always say, okay, look, I understand. You said 1, 2, 3. I hear this all the time. I get that. We're working on it. We're talking through that. But I'm asking you what you can do. Is this the maximum that you can do? Do you believe that this is the maximum that you can do? And then if he makes the mistake to say yes, then you or me, we have to have enough knowledge to say, okay, well, do you think that you could have done this? Do you think that you could have sent the quote later? Do you think that you could have asked before sending it a couple more questions about the quote? Do you think that you could have addressed a bit more about the competitors? Or let me ask you this: if you know that your leads are going to get a slow quotes and our engineers are busy, and this has been going on for 6 months, did you inform the client that this is probably going to happen, basically because we're a big company, we're successful, and we have many clients? Did you say that? No. Why didn't you say that? Do you think the client is going to get scared, or do you think he's going to appreciate that you're honest and that we're a big company? Do you think that the client wants to work with a small company that he's the only client for them? So I'm basically selling them. But that's the reality. It's just that people don't communicate it. They know it, but they don't communicate, and that makes life easier because now I don't have any accountability and I can work 50%, and I don't need to bust my ass. I will not stop repeating this until I see it in your team. It's about building a professional culture. Like, these guys need to understand I'm a professional. I'm here to make money for me, for my family, and for the company, and to make sure that my client doesn't lose money but has a good installation. I'm a professional. And now, if you have a guy that doesn't want to think like this and he's like, I'm a worker, this is not for me, go in McDonald's. It's fine. Okay, I'm not even joking. So it's all about the level and the standard. If you don't have standards, you will never beat any competition. It's all about, and by the way, the funny thing is, you need to have just a little bit more standard to be it doesn't, in today's world, it's full of amateurs. You don't need something crazy to be super professional. You just need to care. When I was training the Slovenia team, when I said this and I'm explaining it, I see in their eyes that they don't believe it. They're like, yeah, professionals, you don't even know our team, like, you don't even know what's going on. No, it's like, what kind of a mindset is that? So why are you working? If you don't take yourself like that's, I feel good that I'm like some kind of a person, right? Like, I want to feel like I'm somebody. I'm just a worker. No, so you can build that, and when you build it nicely, you're actually helping these people love themselves more. It's super important. Otherwise, you can bring on any process you can implement right now, that IT, data, automation, doesn't matter, because they don't believe in it. When you have that exchange between the teams, it's good that you're talking also with the engineers and everybody. We always set the standard of saying, look, I'm talking right now with you with this tone, right? I'm talking right now with you. What we can do is what me and you can do right now with this client. What George does as a technician, that's up to him. I'll handle that. Maybe it's going to happen, maybe not. But for now, I understand. I appreciate the problem. Thank you for sharing. I want to hear right now what more we can do as professionals to move the sale further. Maybe you're still not going to close them. Maybe the client is still not going to buy. The whole idea is, out of 10 clients, at least one more to buy, two more to buy, right? One more deal, two more, three more deals. That's how you basically, become more successful. So what can we do? So it's constant motivation. How many phone calls, emails? When did you meet? How long was it? What did you talk about? Was there another partner with him or not? Did he really care about it or not? Is the money coming from a savings account, business account, liquidity, liquidating something, selling off another, I don't know, property? That would be in the, they need to know that, because that would be the only thing in the mind of the client. Do you think the client thinks, oh wow, because engineers are 1 week slow? He doesn't really care about that. He cares about where his money is going and where it's coming from. That's what he cares about. Everything else, you explain it because it's your solution, but it's not what's closing the deal. You explain how you install, but it's not what closes the deal.
Yeah, then it's all about the profitability. Yeah.
Yes, because, and when you talk like this, like people that don't have experience in sales, by the way, especially B2B, but even B2C, they usually think that if I'm talking in a business sense, like right now, they think that the client would think, oh, he's selling me. No, I work like this my whole life. The client appreciates the fact that I'm useful to him, and I put everything honestly on the table, and I try to help him in a business sense and in a personal sense. If I'm just trying to be nice and then randomly I ask for money, like, what am I doing? It's having this healthy structure for the client to know that I'm a professional that's basically here to, take their money and do a good installation. It's good for them because he wants to save some money out of, electricity or something else, or he has spare cash and he wants to have a good investment. I'm not like, that's my job. I'm like a mentor to this client. I want to help him do that. So if they don't perceive themselves like this, they will forever, regardless if that's why I like to train sales teams, they will forever have problems in life. Doesn't matter if he works for you. He can come work for me or for him or the other company. He would forever hate his job. Sales can be really pleasant if you have a good mindset. He needs to appreciate the rejection. He needs to understand that's a part of the process. So setting up the goals is important. Setting up goals in the beginning of the week is in the beginning of the month. Obviously, if it's the beginning of the month, you have targets. You have individual and team targets. You discuss that only in the beginning of the month.
Do you think that everyone should prepare their own report?
If it's the beginning of the month, we review last month and this month ahead, not the week, obviously. What we review is the closed deals and the lost deals that we for sure know are lost and why they are lost. What's the difference between the wins and the losses, if there's a difference?
Can we write that in some structure? I can actually send you what I already prepared.
Let me explain something to you. I want my salespeople, when I'm working with them, if they're pulling out the report, to be out of the CRM and automated. And if they're writing anything, for it to be only their opinion. Does that make sense? I don't want them to fill in Excel sheets. Or this is, I see a PowerPoint.
Yeah, I make some structure, but most of the data is just rewritten from the should be just rewritten from the CRM. So
Can you pull out information from the CRM?
yeah,
Give me.
most of it, yeah.
So you do it. I'll tell you why. The second you give a sales guy, especially if they don't have results, a presentation or an Excel, he will sit on that thing for 3 hours. And it can be done in 5 minutes.
Okay.
I don't need that. So I'm giving them excuses now. So I'm pulling out the info and I trust that this guy cared so much about his clients. If you ask me right now, I have, let's say, about 50 clients. If you ask me any name, I don't need to look at anything. I'll tell you immediately. If you ask me about any lead that one of my reps has called this week, because I've checked or asked them, I would be able to give you the history out of my head for that person. Because I care, not because I'm smart. I'm actually not smart. I care about that because that's the business. So I can pull out these kilowatts, close deals, and then I would go and ask, okay, look, so I see it's like 10 deals. Give me this, and that guy. What happened there? You need to understand every single process that you do in your team and in the company needs to be similar to what your sales rep is doing with the clients. The second you give me to fill out numbers or Excel, he's not doing that with the client usually. If he's selling me, if he's explaining numbers, so quote, okay, but that's not sales. I'm talking about him thinking like a business person. I'm telling you that I've worked with maybe 100 top performers, approximately. None of them do this. They work, first of all, on a sense. They care about the client and they care about closing the deal. A lot of them even are not good in structuring a report. They are not. But they have insane results, really good results. Because that's how his brain works. You cannot have both. You cannot have analytical and business oriented salesperson. You cannot. Just forget about it. If we're talking about top performers. So not everybody can be a top performer. Maybe you have some more analytical guys, but everybody to go like this analytical, you can have one person like this in the team. And he can do the rest for the other guys. But you don't even have such a big team. So yeah. So your other team is big enough to have that, by the way. I've told them.
I mean, that time that we are working out, prefer to have everything, let's say creation, Slovenian sales, technicians, and also for the back office some kind of reports that every month I go through and see what's going on, what we have to work on and something.
Then I advise you in the beginning for you to do that out of the CRM, pull it out automatically, and then use their words to see the details of how many times they spoke with the client, how long, where did they go, how many times they spoke about the price. I'm telling you, if they go and speak with the client 3 times about the price and they haven't closed them, they're probably not going to close the deal. So if they don't track that, then they don't care about the history of this client. I'm telling you, I have so many clients that buy from us after 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. How am I supposed to remember what happened with this guy? For sower, you will have much more than me, by the way. For sower, you will have so much more deals from older clients than me. You're pulling out the reports, and you're reviewing it together with them in front of them. The whole team in front of you, together with you, online, live, doesn't matter, face to face. You review step by step, first of all, the team results, what the team has made total. Okay, so last month we did X amounts of money. I see that it was done mainly with business clients. I see that it came from this and that guy, right? I see that the majority of these leads, they have been in the system for about 3 months. Okay, so I guess, would you guys agree with me? And if you have a different opinion, I want to hear it. Does this mean that currently our standard sales cycle is about 3 months or 6 months or whatever, right? And does this mean that the more potential clients are, I guess, from these manufacturing facilities here, or if it's B2C, it's from Ljubljana region or somewhere, right? Doesn't or Zagreb? Is that the case? Yeah. And what happens with the other clients? Like, what are the other clients missing out on this?
Usually, we have problem with some clients who are not so serious. Let's say they stay somewhere in the system. So
That's not a problem. That's a client.
yeah.
This you will have it even if you sell socks. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I would like to have, but you will say this is possible, to have everything sorted out. So if he's lost, he's lost. If he's on standby, he's on standby. If he's still in the process, then he's still in the process. Not that we have some mix of everything. This is
Yeah, you should usually have statuses. These are our statuses that I wanted to show you. Attempted contact, in progress, connected, qualified, building a quote, proposal sent, unqualified, bad timing, no interest, right? So first of all, bravo to this, bravo to that. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, I really appreciate that. Start on positive. What did you do with this guy to close this 100K or 30K or 10K? What's the history? I want to hear how you close this guy. And if he says, well, I went there, he had interest, we gave him the call, he liked the price, and we installed. No, 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 no. No. I want to hear, what was his main reason to buy? Where did he get the money from? Was it also his decision or his wife's also decision? Did you speak with anybody else? Like, how many meetings? I'm really curious how you did it. This is super important to the team, is what you say. So this is important to others. So you're sharing with others right now what you did. Okay, it's crucial when you ask these questions and when you talk with them, that yes, I'm asking, but if you feel in my voice, I, quote unquote, I'm also commanding, I'm leading in a nice way, like that's my job. Your job, you need to understand that your job is to lead them. It's not only to help or support, that's fine, that's perfect, please do it, but it's to lead them. People are much more productive when you know how to lead them, much more, much more, because you spare them a lot of effort figuring out what to do during the day. And that's why, good leaders are so important to big companies. It is. So, knowing how to ask those questions, you go through the positives, you hear each one of the reps tell you maybe one or two stories in detail. You would see again the first meetings before they get used to it. They would give you some info, you would ask more, give some more, but it's not going to be full. The longer you do it, the more they would understand that you're looking for accurate answers. Because each one of these clients is a different person, even if it's a business. For my sales rep to have closed the deal without knowing what this person is, then I should give the commission to the client, because then the client decided to buy. He didn't sell him. I can discount the client on the commission that my rep was going to get, and then that's it. I'm not even joking. I've never done that, right? But my point is, okay, so he sent a quote and they bought. Cool. So I want to get people that can speed up and close more deals, speed up the process, close more deals, service the client so the client respects my company. The client doesn't meet you, your engineers, your panels, or anybody. I am your company. I'm your employee. I'm your sales rep. I'm your company. I'm your company. If your guys are behaving in a certain way in your office, believe me that your clients do not have a good opinion about your company. Believe me. So his face, that's the company, 100%. When you go through that, because we're not going to be able to discuss everything in a single meeting, okay? Um, that's why it's consulting. Otherwise, I can do one meeting and pay me everything. But the point is, once you go through the positives and then some history on the negatives, why this guy was lost, what's the main objection, how would have somebody else handled that objection? Do you think it was a wise idea maybe to tell to help you? Maybe just to give a call, just to see if they're gonna react differently to another voice. No, it's better to try than to lose the clan, right? As I said, you have team goals and individual goals for the month that you have set, but then you ask, I want to ask you, if I'm, let's say, the rep, you would say, George, now I want to ask you here, looking at the numbers in your pipeline, first of all, do you think that this is achievable? What we have said for this month, do you think it's achievable? Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're always gonna hear in the beginning, by the way, some bullshit answer. Yeah, of course, of course, of course. Okay, why? Why is it achievable? Like, what makes it achievable? Well, looking at the clients or what we do, I guess we can do it. Okay, but which clients are you talking about? Like, what clients do you have in your pipeline that you think can bring the numbers?
The result, yeah.
Oh, I have to check. Oh, let's check together right now. This is the whole idea of the meeting. Usually, for him to catch the results, he needs to have 50 clients and close 5.
Yeah.
He would usually show you 10 and he's gonna close 10. It doesn't work like that. You express that. Sometimes you can joke. I joke like this. I'm like, look, it's fine. Like, we're working. Nonetheless, I'm sure you agree with me that we want to grow and you want to probably make a lot more money with these clients, right? What's happening with the numbers? Because obviously nobody has 100% conversion rates, so I'm here to help you. When I'm asking you these questions, I'm not interrogating you or testing you. I'm trying to help you understand the reality of the situation so that you know what to do during the months. Does that make sense? Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So that's what we're doing. If today we don't have the accurate numbers, that's fine. We're gonna try to figure it out for next week. Okay, but we need to know the real data. If you have 10 clients and you gotta close 10 clients, I'll tell you right now, we gotta find another 40 that you think are good, not random clients. Another 40 that you had a nice conversation. If your typical phone conversations are 10 minutes, make them 20. Talk more, ask more, influence more, create some urgency or some need. Okay? When you get the commitment from the guy on this, you would ask him. Now, I'm asking you, so this is the same question. Second time, you would get a different answer. So now I'm asking you, realistically speaking, realistically, so I can help you. Otherwise, I cannot help you. What do you think you can do this month? I did it with the Slovenian team in March. This strategy. Exactly the same thing happened. First of all, they said 10 out of 10, each one of them. They gave me numbers. Next week, I went in, I placed it. Tell me realistically, all of them gave me 3 times less numbers. In the beginning, they said 10, 12, 8. They went down to 2. Well, I can close these 2. I can close those 3. Even the top performers. I was like, what happened in 1 week? Well, yeah, but this is slow. I was like, okay, so this is what you need to know. Like, those guys were probably the guys from the beginning. The fact that you said last week 10, but they were realistically 3 didn't help you, did it? No, so the more honest you are with yourself, the more you can actually work on the proper results. And again, you would see maybe you have been working with some people for a couple years and they're so used to it, they're just not motivated. Okay. But I don't think you have this problem with your team. I don't think you have it. If we're talking about the other team, it's a different topic. So once you get the commitment, that's the best commitment you can get because now, okay, maybe he told me 3 deals, although you need 10. Now I for sure am looking for this guy to close those 3 out of 10 deals that he's looking at. So I'm gonna ask him. I'm going to see what he does. I'm gonna see if he needs. I want to see if he asks himself for help, if he's doing a proper follow up. Okay. Also, he should not be too needy with the clients. He should have healthy indifference. But As you can see, it's a whole process that, imagine like me and you are talking about it right now, just explaining it. As you can see, it doesn't happen in one meeting. And you need to understand that this is life, this is business. Like it's kind of is the same as you're building this type of a mindset because if people ask me or some of my friends, why do you, let's say, train constantly, like 15 years, nonstop? It's not because I want or them to look good or healthy or whatever. It's who I am. It's nice. Health and benefits, like that's a bonus. If you have seen a lot of people that go to the gym to look in a nice way, later down the line they look bad because it's like they do it for the wrong reason. They don't perceive themselves as a part of the process. They think the process is on the side and they're following it.
But you need to enjoy the process otherwise.
You are the process. Like if you're looking at the process here, you're always going to have to maintain them and constantly push them. It's about them understanding that I'm this type of a guy. I call the clients. I'm looking for the solutions. I want to have the actual details. I want to remember this guy. Not every client is perfect. I understand that. I'm not gonna close every single one. I get that. So they need to understand that this is who they are, and it happens just so you know when you work nicely with people. And again, you are helping them have a better life. I'm not even joking. You're teaching them something that no other company is going to teach them. Almost no companies do this. 1% of companies work with people nicely. So he can build a good mentality. Now, if you do need any help, you can contact me or your colleague, ask for an opinion. Doesn't mean you have to follow it, doesn't mean that they know more or less or whatever. It's about exchanging information. If you cannot explain it to your colleague, the problem with this deal, how can you explain it to the client? How can you explain it to the client if you cannot go and talk with your colleague about it? You cannot. Not in the way that's going to close the deal. Middle of the week, it's about engaging in communication. So you're gonna lead on from last conversation into this one, and you're going to ask not about the historical leads like on Monday and then look at the results. Now you're gonna ask, okay, from Monday, Tuesday, what happened with the leads? Did you go through the follow up? Did you contact them since he said those leads are top priority? If he could not call them in 24 hours, this guy must be insane. So those are his top leads, and we spoke about it Monday morning, and it's Wednesday morning, and he didn't call them. But the whole idea is expect them not to call them in the beginning. Expect them not to do the follow up. Expect them to make a mistake. So we gotta stick to a positive mindset here because the first thing that they're going to expect is if you ask them this, that you're gonna scold them. It's gonna be something negative. We need to relax in this point, and we need to talk about sales processes. All right, fair enough. You didn't call them. I get that. Do you understand that this is wrong? Yes. Okay, let's move on then. How can we qualify? Like, let's imagine that you've called them already because it's Wednesday. So, a lot of leaders make the mistake that the salesperson didn't do it and you stop the topic. Oh, so you didn't call them. Oh, let's talk about it Friday then. Okay, so this doesn't work. Let's imagine you called them. Since you didn't, let's imagine you called them. What would you have said? I want to hear the specific questions that are the most important to you. He's gonna say 2 or 3 things, 4 things. You would say, are you gonna say it like this or not? Like, are you saying it like, are you communicating with the client in this way, or are you saying it in a different way? Usually, he would say, well, I say it in a different way. Well, I want to hear it. I want to see how I'm gonna feel as a client if you say it to me. Go, and you basically do kind of like a semi-sales training on this. Okay, if you're talking about, I gave some examples here, but basically it can be about qualifying a new lead. It can be about sending the proposal or the price, discussing the price, or a lead that already has the price and now he's doing a follow-up. It's super important, by the way. A lot of sales guys don't know how to do a follow-up. They go and they say, hey, did you check the quotes? It's like, hey, are you ready to give me money? It's a really bad way.
Because it's not successful. This is something that I think that she's kind of struggling now because he has hard time getting the client, and when he gets them, they are full of some excuses.
Yes, because he allows them to have those. There is a fair amount of risk that each sales rep has to take. Some take more, others less, but they need to take risks. And the longer you do a follow up with the client, the bigger the risk has to grow if you want to close them. Otherwise, they don't have respect. So the longer the clients usually stall me and slow me down, the more I have to challenge them. Why did that happen? Where can we change? Tell me then if I have missed something. Is there a gap that I don't know about? In some cases, this works with me really well because I'm used to risking it like this. Maybe you're gonna lose a client, but let me tell you this client was already lost. Don't get mad at him. Maybe he cannot sell to a certain degree or go closer, but he's gonna learn. But the whole idea is usually if I risk a bit more questions and challenging the client and the client backs away, then he was already wasting my time and he decided not to buy. For sure. Okay.
So
Companies
more aggressive if the process is longer.
I'm not even aggressive, I'm actually honest. I usually, let's say I'm speaking like the other day, I spoke third meeting with some kind of a company. I can right now pull out my note because I copy pasted it here, and here it is. Because he had to send me the review on my draft contract and potentially pay me. No objections, no problems, everything's good. Now they are slowing down. I ask a couple times, let's meet, let's talk. Okay, fair enough. Well, my partner's busy today, they say this, right? What is it? I can even show it to you, but basically, I told him, uh, again, yes, sorry. He even wrote to me, "Hey George, sorry for the late reply. We have some crazy days here. The my favorite, right? We have crazy days. I'll be back with some questions these days, and because I've already asked him like 3 times just to talk, and I'm speaking like you, like right now, I'm not like aggressive. I basically am honest and tell him, hey, look, I'm sure you have been, uh, I'm sure you have seen that we had a good conversation and everything was explained in detail and nicely as possible. If your colleague is against working with us or you have second thoughts about the project, I'm okay with that. But please just tell me so that I know if there's something that I can fix to make it, more useful to you. Because we work with clients that are motivated to work with us and believe in the results that we bring in. We don't want to put a gun to anybody's head and we don't want to sell ourselves. We don't work like that. We want to know that we're working as partners and that you believe in us same way that we believe in you. So for us, it's top one priority for me and you to be on the same page. Is there anything that you would like to share? And he wrote to me, sure, don't worry about it. I like the way you see the strategy and everything. It's just that we have lots of things going on. I'll get back to you on Saturday with questions. Okay? And this guy's gonna send me. So he wants to work. Now, those questions a lot of reps are scared to ask. In many cases, when I ask this, a person will tell me it's too expensive, or actually outright tell me there's this one company that I spoke with that offered me this with that insurance for this money, which I never knew, right? And then I know if I can fix it. If I cannot fix it, go there. If he wants to be cheap, go there. If he wants, I don't know, like some magical results, go there, because that's a lie, right? So this only happens again if you know how to build respect with the clients and you know how to do follow up. If, for instance, most probably, if Josh writes this, the client is going to say, yeah, we're not going to work with you. He's not even probably going to give an answer, right? So they need to know how to actually present themselves like this, because this client respects me and I respect him, and he doesn't want to lose my respect. So he's going to give me an accurate problem, hopefully, if there's a problem. Now, that's a different topic, but it is important, especially the way that you're talking with me, for you to refrain yourself from muddying the waters when you speak with them. Like if you catch a specific detail or problem that they're constantly looking on, there's no need to communicate it all the time, just so you know. So he cannot do the follow up. He cannot. Okay, there's no need to go too much into detail because, as you see, first of all, it takes a lot of time, and second thing is it doesn't aim us at the right direction always. We're just talking something that we already know. It's much better to say, look, why don't you do more sales training? Why don't you do more one-on-one consulting? Why don't you do more role plays? Come and speak with your colleagues. Bring us to the follow up. If you cannot follow up with the client properly, give it to me. I'm gonna follow up. Okay, like there's no need for me to constantly listen to the complaining. So again, the topics can be anything, but it is crucial, as I said, to be low, not stressful, and to be motivating. Any problem that comes in, okay, I got that, fine. It happens, no problem. You didn't call them. How would you actually say it if you called them? Or how would you do it if they said this? How would you do? I got you. I think you can do it. Do you believe you can do it? Yes. Yes, I believe so. Look, I'll tell you this: the main difference on how you're gonna sound on the talk with the client is if you really believe it. If you don't believe it, the client's never gonna believe you. If you think that maybe you need a bit more assistance to believe in this, or in how you talk or how you ask that, let's work on that. It's not a problem. It doesn't mean that you're a bad, and you can reframe it. It doesn't mean that you're a bad sales guy. Maybe you're just full of work. I get that, but you cannot sit on this all the time because it doesn't feel good, does it? Does it feel good? No, it doesn't feel good. Okay, so that's what we're talking. And as you see, what I'm basically doing is I'm merging, because I'm selling them basically. I'm selling the whole team. I'm merging sales or motivation, influencing them with the data. So the whole idea that I'm trying to say is usually people take the data and the results and they talk about that, or they maybe try to motivate. They need to happen together because otherwise you're separating the sales motivation from the results and he cannot work. When he talks about numbers, he's sleepy. When he tries to motivate the client to sell him, he sounds cheap. That's what happens when you separate data from motivation. Let me ask you this: how can I believe you? So you're more expensive than another company. And you're trying to explain that to me in numbers, but you sound like an accountant. Expect me to believe that your price is so much better and more high quality and higher quality because it's more expensive if I don't even see a positive, nice vibe from you, that you believe that I'm gonna make more. Bare minimum. Thank you so much for sharing this week. When we spoke about the topics, obviously, look, we're trying to make this better, but also more pleasant for you. Sharing is not bad. Exchanging information is not bad. Looking at results, even if they're negative, is not bad. You can learn from any result. Do you guys agree with me that you can learn from anything? Yes or no? Right? They say yeah. Okay. So first of all, thank you for expressing your opinion. I want to see more of this, especially let's say when we start next week, we talk a bit more on the numbers from this one. I really appreciate that. Now I want to ask if
What
there's any
is the
specific.
difference between 3 and 5?
Yes. So 3 is more of a sales training where you're gonna do role plays, as I said in short. You start from the motivational part where you're hopefully trying to. So yeah, maybe it's the naming that I've placed here, but basically you're motivating them to do the actual sales process in a high quality way. How they ask the questions, how they actually do the numbers, how they qualify the prospect, how they send the quote, how they discuss the pricing. It's a semi sales training, as I said. Number 5, I wrote as stay resilient. It's about ending the week nicely, congratulating them on going through the process that you described, congratulating them on actually, sharing the information with you and being open about it. It's not going to be a long meeting. Telling them it's Friday. I know that a lot of people are also busy. It's probably going to be a different day. I need to ask if anybody has important meetings today for you to make sure that you have a nice weekend. I'm sure you're going to have a much better weekend if you know that you did a good job today, even if it's a smaller day because it's Friday. And you can relax in those, Saturday, Sunday, whatever you do. Okay, so I want you to have a good Friday, but also to appreciate what you did during the week. And if you need something, you have to contact me back. Like you have to, specifically on Friday as well. Okay. And by the way, basically, usually my questions, I do team huddles every morning, including before the meeting with you. And we talk about the meetings during the day that they have, that the reps have. Maybe some of them would not have meetings. Usually, at least one guy would have some meetings, right? One or two. I'm always curious to know what the client is, how many people they have in the company, because that would kind of show me the revenue. Who is he talking with? HR director, uh, procurement, CEO. Has he spoken with somebody else? I usually ask, how did you get to the CEO? So these are things that I'm refreshing his memory as well, and I'm also informed. If I'm not informed, I cannot expect him to want to stay informed himself as well, because I'm the owner of the company, obviously. Yeah, I'm going to give you after that also questions for monthly and weekly review together with this PDF. I will send the PDF to you. I guess only with the second page, not the other 2 pages.
Okay.
I'm gonna
For
send that
now,
to
I
you.
think it's enough if we do these three and do them constantly and correctly. Because if we do too much at the start, I think that will be only the mess. We can do that.
That's correct. And the second topic, when you start that, is I have a structure for the one-on-ones, which I can help as well with. But it's good for you to build that because you're every day in the office, so it's not like I'm a replacement. Like you have to do that.
Yeah.
That structure is important as well because there's topics for the team and topics for the one-on-one. Try, you're really analytical. That's really good. Try to understand how to use it. It's super crucial because otherwise everything else that you do analytically, it just goes under the table. Nobody remembers it, nobody understands it. They use it as complaints, right? I'm sure you've seen that. So that's why it happens.